here might be that moment we've been waiting for, where the big stuff happens and we don't properly notice because we're drowning in all the other stuff. And by big, I mean epochal and international. I mean world order. I mean end of Pax Americana. All the other stuff is just increasing evidence of fascism. Make no mistake, all right? Locking people up or describing innocent people as guilty because we just haven't caught them yet, deporting people who've not committed any crimes, shutting down media outlets like Voice of America, prosecuting people and threatening to deport them for protesting peacefully against Israel's actions in Gaza. I mean, fascism, 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 fascism.
So in this video, we're going to see James O'Brien absolutely take down Donald Trump, but in the calmest demeanor I've probably ever seen before. As the video is only short, we're going to watch it in full, and then towards the end, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts. Let's get into it.
But if you're not seeing it yet, then you're a fan of it. It's over. The hope, the pretense, the conversation about whether it is or whether it isn't, it just is. Yeah, calling Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator, trying to humiliate him in the White House. This is not negotiating tactics or the art of the deal, a book, of course, he didn't even write and hasn't read, but upon which his reputation rests among the, what do you even call them? But this is mad, right? And remember, because he has such power, you cannot just ignore him. Whether you're me, or whether you're Volodymyr Zelensky, or whether it's you. You cannot ignore someone wielding such enormous power, tempting though it may be to switch off occasionally. But yesterday, he asked for Ukrainian power plants. He literally suggested that Ukraine should hand over its power plants to the United States of America. And of course, by United States of America, given Elon Musk's proximity to the project, we know that the amount of crossover between personal financial interest and public finances is now almost complete. You remember Jimmy Carter put his peanut farm into a trust, into a blind trust, so that there couldn't be any conflict of interest between his presidency and his financial status as a private citizen. He put a peanut farm into a blind trust. Trump continues to use and promote his golf courses, his hotels, and way beyond that in the context of his own presidency. He sees it as, among other things, a money-making exercise. And this seems to me to be one of those moments that the flooding of the zone is designed to disguise. Listen, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Of course I could. But I haven't been yet on Trump or Brexit or Boris Johnson or Liz Truss or austerity. I could be wrong on this. It may not be the equivalent to, let us say, Winston Churchill or, Winston Churchill, because the Americans weren't in the war at the time, suggesting to the Prime Minister of Poland that we will only go to war against the Nazis if you give us all your coal mines. You give us all the profits from your coal mines. We'll come and fight for you if you let us have the coal mines. Nazis move into France, on the phone to de Gaulle. Yeah, all right, we'll help. I suppose you'd have to deal with Vichy, wouldn't you? We'll help. Just give us all your coal mines. Oh, can we have the Eiffel Tower as well while you're at it? I'll tell you what, we'll just take the Champs-Élysées. Give us Versailles. It's incredible, right? And yet we're now in a place where it's not front page news. I don't know whether it is in the United States of America. It doesn't merit an editorial comment in some of our newspapers, of course, almost all of which, certainly the Brexit-leaning ones, are yet to atone for or apologise for suggesting that a Donald Trump presidency would be brilliant. I remember Jacob Rees-Mogg wrote an article for The Telegraph about how it would be absolutely fantastic for Britain, and indeed it would make Brexit a glorious success if Donald Trump got into the White House. I suppose we should be grateful for small mercies. He's gone very quiet lately. But to ask for ownership of the plants, the power plants, as some sort of, well, if you don't give them to us, then maybe Mr. Putin will continue blowing them up, is a moment of, I think, fairly high significance, because it speaks to a complete corruption of the order. So I don't know that a phone-in has popped out at the bottom of these pontifications yet, do you? I mean, the obvious one would be, do you agree? I mean, is Trump's offer to take over the power plants in Ukraine in return, well, not even in return for much, just in return for a verbal suggestion that Russia will be less likely to bomb them if they belong to the United States than they would be if they continue to belong to the Ukrainian people or the Ukrainian state. That's incredible, right? I don't know who's qualified to comment on whether or not it's the equivalent to Winston Churchill predicating support for Poland after the Nazis invaded upon them handing over all of their coal mines, or support for France, defence of France, depending on them handing over the Eiffel Tower or the Palace of Versailles. I don't know if it is. I just think it might be. And then I turned to an article, a very good article in The Guardian today by Martin Kettle, which posits the existence of an Atlantic alliance of which America is not a part. And it speaks generationally. It reminds us that this stuff is not going to be confined now to one presidential term. I mean, again, we could have a phone-in about how confident you are there'll be an election in 4 years' time. Hand on heart, how confident are you that there will actually be a full, free and fair election? The next time it is due in the US election cycle. We may get an indication of how likely that is next year in the midterms. But this headline here, Europe can build a new NATO and it doesn't need Trump. An Atlantic alliance without the United States. It sounds like a contradiction in terms. Hamlet without the prince. Yet this is the improbable, disjunctive world that we now inhabit. It is one in which our children and our grandchildren will live their lives. So there are two questions popping out the bottom of this pontification monologue. It's not a rant, is it? I'm far too chill today for it to be called a rant. But the first is, that's just true, isn't it? It's incredible, still incredible. We're only 2 months in, and we need to see the world through entirely different lenses. We need an Atlantic alliance, a Western alliance, without the United States. Question, don't we? 03456.
Wow. Listen, one of the things I've always liked, I've always been a fan of listening to James O'Brien, especially when he goes on these kind of, monologues where he just brilliantly just breaks something down and just, lists things out. Like, look, everything that James O'Brien said in this video, and I liked the fact that he'd done it in such a calm demeanor, wasn't angry. Like he said, it wasn't a rant, but everything he said was true. I literally done a bit of research before filming this video, and I compiled a list of things that Donald Trump has done that could be characterized as being a fascist or an authoritarian. And there's a few different things. We've seen what he's done with the judges, behaving as if judges don't have the authority to limit his power, which that is literally one of the reasons as to why judges are there, to be able to make sure that he doesn't take advantage of the power that it is that he has. Even taking a look at when he granted pardons to the individuals who everybody knows they done something wrong and they've done something illegal, but because they've done it on the behalf of him, he then basically pardoned all of those individuals. Imagine if Joe Biden done something like that. Like, we know exactly what the far right would be saying about it. We've literally seen him appointing people who are loyalists to him and putting them in key positions throughout his administration. We've got that Kash Patel, who's the head of the FBI now. Pete Hegseth, is it the director of, I can't remember what it is, but Pete Hegseth. We've got all of these different Trump loyalists in different departments, and we've literally seen he's removed individuals from the Department of Justice, taking control over independent agencies such as, the FEC. These are literally just some of the things that it is that Donald Trump has done that could be looked at as being a fascist and an authoritarian. It's just some of the things that it is that he could have done. And yesterday he did take it to another level when he proposed, like James O'Brien spoke about in this video, when he proposed to Zelensky that America take over their power plants, pure and simply because they'd be more safer with them. This is where it starts with this guy. He'll propose something and just put it out there like it's an idea, but slowly but surely he'll start to work on it until he gets it. This is what it is that we're now dealing with. And that's the reason as to why you're hearing and you're seeing articles that are coming out where people are talking about we now need to look at working towards a world where NATO exists without the United States. Until somebody comes back into power who is of sound mind, who is pro-democracy, this literally is where it may have to be, because we are literally seeing that Donald Trump is comfying up more with far-right individuals, authoritarians, dictators, as opposed to the allies that the United States of America has had for years. We're literally seeing this mental stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below this video. And as per usual, if you're new to the channel and you want to consider joining the family, hit the subscribe button while you're down there, and also hit the thumbs up as you come back up, purely just for the YouTube algorithm. Let me know your guys' thoughts. And as usual, I'll see you guys in the next one. Donald Trump's a fascist.